enough for anybody.
This man's never played Thong Twister or anything? He's never had any fun at all?
No, it's because I've always just been fat.
I don't think I'm good enough for anybody.
Is that candy corn? Well, I mean, he's trying to bait women in for the kiss at this point. He thinks you'll come in for the sweets and he's gotcha.
I don't think I'm worth anything.
So by the time I was 15, I had made it up over 400 pounds.
I was bullied in the halls by all the kids. One time, they all surrounded me, threw me to the floor.
Okay, so I'm just watching this My 600 Pound Life reaction video. Obviously, it's not the original video. It's by this Shaun of Steel fellow, which I like to watch. I like to watch his reaction videos rather than the actual episodes. I did used to watch the episodes of My 600 Pound Life. And, you know, I don't know. I can't find them anymore, but now I can only find the Shaun of Steel ones, which I prefer. I prefer to watch these reaction videos because it's kind of like, I don't know, I like Shaun, his personality and, you know, his reactions and everything. I think it makes it, like, more fun, I guess. So, yeah, so this one, pretty much, I hate these, like, segments where they start. I mean, I don't like it, in the first place, because a lot of you might think, oh, you know, you watch My 600 Pound Life, this is like porn to you because you like fatties and all that. It's actually not. And the reason being is because they're so down on themselves and there's quite a lot of, like, fat phobia in them. So I will admit that triggers me a lot. And in this particular segment in the very beginning where they're sort of describing their life, particularly their growing up period, where they talk about their family history and their, you know, experience in school and stuff, they always go on about how, you know, they got fat as a kid and then they started getting bullied by other kids because they're fat. And that kind of triggers me because I'm thinking, I think that, you know, that's where this fat phobia stuff, you know, stems from. It's like kids get bullied for being fat in school. So what happens is they end up hating themselves. Like he just said, he hates himself and all this stuff. And he said he doesn't think he's worth anything. And you know, that they get like really down on themselves in these episodes. And of course, like in general, kids will become down on themselves because, I don't know, I feel like if there was no bullying, I feel like they wouldn't feel this way. They wouldn't feel so down on themselves and self-destructive and like, because I hear a lot. There was this one girl who was like a reaction person and she reacted to the similar thing, not like whole episodes of things like this. It was a fat thing though. It was definitely, I think it was some kind of game one, you know, kind of like The Biggest Loser, but I don't know whether it might have been The Biggest Loser, I don't know, but it was something about fat people and trying to lose weight and stuff. And she went on about how it's good that they get bullied, like you need bullying because it helps you to, you know, realize that being fat, and she said it in a really harsh, like she was really harsh about it, she was really quite nasty, like, yeah, they should get bullied, you know, because it'll pretty much, she believes that bullying makes people a better person, and she believes that pretty much what it does is it deters the person from doing whatever it is they're getting bullied for. So basically, like, if it's behavior that, you know, wouldn't suffice in like a civilized world, so they get bullied for it, and that kind of teaches them that they can't keep going on like that, like they can't keep acting that way or whatever. And like with the fat thing, it's kind of like, well, they'll say, okay, so being fat's not good, so I'd better buck up my ideas and lose weight and stuff. And it doesn't work like that. All that actually happens is it gives people a complex, and it oftentimes it makes people want to eat more, like they turn to food for comfort because you know, where ordinarily they wouldn't probably have, you know, turned to food and eaten even more after being bullied and being made to feel bad about themselves. you know, if they hadn't have been made to feel bad about themselves, then they might not have turned to food even more than they were already doing. Like, they might have like gone a bit fat for a while and then eventually sort of thought, okay, I better, you know, lose weight or whatever, and done it of their own accord, or just stayed the same size because they're just eating the same amount and it just like ebbing along like the status quo sort of thing. But because they get bullied, they end up feeling worse, and they end up thinking that food is pretty much their only escape and their only comfort, so they keep eating and eating and eating more and more and more and worse foods, because obviously it's all the junk food, all the fast food that's, you know, like the comfort food and all that sort of thing. So I don't really think it works. I think it just makes people feel worse about themselves. I don't think it's a very productive or good way to kind of deter someone from gaining more weight, or, you know, making them want to lose more weight, you know, or anything like that. I don't think it actually works that way, because the psychology is that they're just going to eat more and more and more. They're just going to feel worse about themselves. They're going to get a complex. They're going to get self-esteem issues and so on and so forth. What they need is discipline. Like, they don't need people giving them a hard time. So that's the first thing anyway. So anyway, I'm just going to show you this little bit before I go on to my next bit of a rant.
And kicked me. I never let anybody know. I was too embarrassed. After that day, I didn't want to go through that.
I mean,
What?
look at him. He's so... look at how good he looks there. He looks really handsome, and his body shape looks amazing. Like, you know, you get some fat people that look horrible and they just have a weird body. But he's got a really nice, like, for as fat people go. Obviously, most of my audience already knows, you know, I like fat people, and probably the people who watch this also like fat people as well, and all like they like being fat, like they're part of the fat loving community in one way or another. So you guys will agree the guy looks great. But for those who might be watching who, you know, don't know about this stuff, oh, how do I get rid of this shit? I don't really want to. I don't want to promote the guy. I mean, no, I like him and all, but I don't really want to promote him, to be honest. I'll just do that anyway. I mean, you can go watch him if you want, because, you know, he is good. I like him a lot, and he does deserve more views and stuff. But I don't. You know, I feel like I should be being paid to advertise him, but I can't get rid of it. Oh, I'll just get rid of that. I don't know. I don't want to advertise that either. I don't want to give people free advertising. No. Anyway, sorry about the interruption anyway. That's just going to make the video even freaking longer now, but never mind. So, where was I? Oh, yeah. So, I was saying, for those who are watching my videos who are not a fat admirer of some description, you know, you've got to agree, you know, even if you're not really into fat people, that for a fat person, he has a decent body, like a decent shape. Like, he looks really smart in that shirt. Like, I think it all depends on how, you know, like how you carry yourself and what you wear as well. Like, if you've got a good body, like, I think people should just flaunt it and just stop being down on themselves just because they've got meat on their bones. I mean, come on. I've said it before a million times, and I'll say it again for a million. I'll say it until I'm dead. I'll say it until I'm dead. Having meat on your bones is a good thing, because it means that you are eating, like, really well. And yeah, I mean, being too fat is bad for you, but come on. Like, having some meat on your bones is good. And you get people who are even a little bit fat, like even smaller than him. Like, he's not really that fat by fat standards. Like, by American fat standards, he's not even that big here. You know, it must be like 300 pounds, and that's like small by American standards. So it's people that are just like normal size, that just have a bit of meat on the bones, maybe slightly overweight. Even those people are like down on themselves, or down on like the little amount of meat that they've got, because they all want to be as skinny as possible, until they're like showing, hip plates and like concave stomachs and ribs sticking out and spines sticking out and collarbones and all sorts and a bony chest. And it looks bloody awful. I don't know why people want to look like that. I don't know. Since when did like being bigger, like just like normal big, like just a normal size, when did that become like a bad thing? Because it means you're actually eating properly. I don't know. Just like, it looks like it represents poverty, if you're all bony. I don't know why you want to look like you're, starving to death. I don't know why people glorify that, honestly.
That's insane that he just got attacked.
And it came to the part where...
I'm sorry, I've gone backwards. I didn't mean to.
Anybody think I'm worth
I hate
it.
this fucking thing.
I was bullied. Close to embarrassed.
That, like, you didn't say anything or do anything, then again, you would never deserve it. One time I had a group of kids ask me, like, what would you do if we all got you right now? All four of us just jumped on you. I'm like, I'm ripping three of your dongs off out of this, so you're walking away without it. This is prison rules, baby. We're just going to go at it.
So I dropped out and got a job working at fast food places. Unfortunately, constantly being around fast food didn't help. I was eating fast food, I would say probably about 4 or 5 days a week, 2 or 3 meals.
So yeah, I think that, to be honest with you, I'm not going to lie, I think it's jealousy. Like, I think they look at this guy, he looks freaking, I mean, he looks amazing. He looks really handsome there, especially with that hair. It's got gorgeous hair as well, really nice and fluffy and thick, and like I say, decent body shape. So, and he looks like, he looks well fed, probably as a kid back then, because it would have been like, I guess the 90s or something, or 80s when he was growing up. So, back then it was probably, because this was, I'm not going to say before fast food or anything, but it wasn't as, it wasn't here anyway in the UK, I guess. I mean, we had McDonald's and Pizza Hut, but that was about it. Obviously, these are in America, so they probably had fast food, like, well before we did. And, it was probably, like, rare to be fat, like, back then. Everyone was skinny, and everyone thinks that's a good thing. But to be honest with you, I think that back in those days, people just weren't as well fed, and that they were working manual, laborious jobs, like really, basically physically taxing jobs. And they probably had, like, what I call normal food. So not fast food, at least here. I don't know about America. I can't speak for America. They probably always had fast food since maybe the 60s or 70s. I don't know when fast food was first introduced there, and I don't know when it was first introduced here. So any of you watching this video now, if you know, I would really appreciate it if you could educate me on this. Like, I don't know when fast food was introduced, but I know here it wasn't really as popular, like when I was growing up, and that was the 90s and early 2000s. It wasn't as prevalent and popular. So we ate what was like just normal food, like, I don't know, chips was probably the only closest thing to fast food. But we had fat chips, not thin chips, like, the fries. We had the fat fries, the chips, So they weren't as fattening, as the thin chips, the fries. So, we ate like steak and chips, and we had like sausage, chips and beans, or mash, or peas, like vegetables, like stews, lamb stews, and, like Sunday roast dinners and stuff like we had normal food. So, Americans, normal food for them, probably then and still now to this day, is like burgers and thin chips, the fries, and crisps, and tacos and burritos, and fried chicken, and God knows what else that they eat, because they eat lots of things with cheese on, and just like really disgusting things. I don't know, I can't eat, they're like those sweet waffles. Like, our waffles are potato waffles, but they have like sweet waffles that are deep fried. And they have pancakes and something called biscuits, which is pretty much scones, I think. It's our scones, but they're different. Like some of them look like scones, and some of them look some kind of like oval looking thing. So these biscuits, they're apparently some kind of sour bread or something. They have that for breakfast and scrambled egg and stuff. That's not fast food, but you know what I mean. It's like they have bacon. Bacon's very like salty and bad for you. They have that's their diet. Their diet's literally burgers, chips, crisps, fried chicken, pizzas. Oh, pizzas. Nice pizzas. I can't think of any other fried food right now. Fast food, I mean. But yeah. So they have all stuff like that, like all bad stuff, like wings. So, that's not normal food, but that is like that's probably normal food to them, to Americans, but to us, it's just meat, veg, stews, just normal food. But I mean, we're catching up. We're like we're becoming more and more fast food orientated now. Like I say, pizzas, chips, burgers, fried chicken. We're catching up with all that crap now. Even I myself, I've started eating stuff like that more and more, which it just tastes good and it's easier. I don't like cooking, to be honest with you, but I'm gonna start getting into cooking. I'm gonna start actually having like meat and veg, like just normal like organic meat that I have to cook from scratch, and broccoli and cauliflower and carrots and stuff. They're my favorites. So I'm gonna start eating that because I personally want to eat healthier. So, I'm going to start eating like that, and more vegetarian ones as well, like vegetarian kind of healthy food and what have you. So I'm going to do that myself. I'm going to try and stop having as much fast food because I don't think it's good for you. Whether or not you want to gain weight, I think if you want to gain weight, then you should do it in a healthy way. Like I say, eat healthy food, but eat more of it, if you want to gain weight, and eat kind of like less of it if you want to lose weight. It's like 3 meals a day if you want to lose weight, 2 or 3, and probably like 6 meals a day, especially at night if you want to put on weight, and like bigger portions. Anyway, so that's not what I was gonna say, but yeah, they so growing up that they didn't have they probably ate normal food, and then someone that was big like this at a child, as a child, it would be a novelty to them, like it would be unusual, and they'd be like, I could just imagine they're just looking at this fat kid and thinking, you're big, you must be eating like really well, like why are you able to eat so well and we're not able to eat so well and as much food? Like, what are you eating to get that big? And they're just jealous, and they're not going to admit that. They're not going to ask. They're just going to, like I say, jump him and bully him, beat him up, whatever. But they make the fat person feel like the bad person and the one who should be ashamed of themselves, when really they're jealous of that person, so they're just trying to make them feel bad. Because back in the olden days, like I say, when poverty was rife and it was harder to come by, I'm talking about the really olden days now, like well before we were in existence. Like I don't know when it would have been when poverty was prevalent, like the Victorian era and kind of eras like that, like eras gone by, and there was no fast food, and it was very rare to come by food that was high in nutrition, like very very nutrient and vitamin and mineral rich, like good like healthy food that you like I say, you'd get everything that you needed to in order to sort of be, I guess, plumper and like a healthy fat, like a healthy weight. And I think a lot of people who were like slimmer, maybe not eating very well, would probably look upon a fat person back then and think, like, this person is eating very well, like better than me. So I can imagine there was probably a lot of jealousy going on back then due to like poverty, and you know, it was probably very common to see a lot of skinny people. And then if you saw a fat person, it would be very unusual. It'd be a novelty, and again, they'd be thinking like, you know, where is this person like getting the money to be able to afford this amount of food? Like, they're clearly well fed. Like, what's going on here? And they were probably jealous of that. And I think that's where it probably stems from. Well, there you go. Here's a compliment. He is very handsome. Even now, like he was hot back then, so I don't really understand why he got bullied or didn't get a girlfriend or whatever. But yeah, anyway, I think that's where it comes from. I think that's where this fat hate comes from. Not that anybody would admit it now. Like if you ask anybody now, they'll just say, "Oh, it's because it's unhealthy. Being fat's unhealthy. That's why people don't like it." Blah blah. I thought it's nothing to do with whether it's healthy or unhealthy. Kids don't know whether it's unhealthy or not, and yet they will bully a fat person. They have absolutely no idea whether being fat is healthy or not, and they don't know the workings of it. They don't know about diabetes and all that stuff, like what it does to your body. They don't know all that stuff. They just see a fat kid and they just bully it. Like, they don't know why they're doing it. They just do it. And yeah, so I doubt that fat hate stems from it being unhealthy. It's about looks. It's about appearances. They don't think about the mechanics of it and whether it's bad or good. They just think, oh, you look different to me. You're bigger. You're obviously more powerful because you're bigger, and we don't like that, so we're going to take you down as a group. Because like he just said, about 10 of them or however many it was, you know, apparently jumped him. So of course it took 10 people to take him down because he's big, you know. So that proves that he is way more big and powerful. But of course he doesn't realize it because he's now self-conscious. He's been made to believe that he's a lowly piece of shit. And that's bad, and I don't see fat people as lowly pieces of shit. I think they are very big and strong and tough, and they should show it. They should stand up for themselves when they're getting bullied. And you know what? If I was a big fat guy like him, or girl, whatever, you know, if I was fat and if I got bullied for being fat, I would actually say you're just jealous because you can't eat. Or you're not eating enough or something, so you're so skinny and weak and puny. Like, I'd bully them back. I'd bully like the skinny people back and tell them that they're weak and puny and their ribs are sticking out and they need to eat more. That's what I would do. If I was a fat person, I would bully the skinny people.